It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, it's Rusty. What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday. Yesterday, we didn't do a show. In honor of National Medical Marijuana Patient Day. So, yeah. You guys, that should save my life. Otherwise, I'd be barely fucking walking, not doing anything, but it made me awesome. So thank you for that, whoever you are making that. You guys, welcome here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. And I'm your host, Rusty Diamond, on the podcast, Public Access Podcast. Check out other great shows on the network, such as When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast, This Is It with Lizzie, and Saved by the Ben. And the show is brought to you by Fred Ben Savage as Fuck. Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, Stoner Eats, and sockemup.org. So thank you everyone for being here. Like, subscribe, share, pass it along. It's just making some waves. And if you want, you can even call in 503-974-6420, if you please. And you can even leave a message if you like, or if you don't, you can.
Ernest.
Nope, that's sure not it. Sure not Stoner Eats. You're gonna get that a little early. That's an Easter egg for you there. Let's see. We'll get that going. And yeah, so you guys, so you can leave a message again. Yeah, 503-974-6420. You can leave a message or
messages. We don't need no stinking messages.
yeah, but I do. So give me some messages. So today we're gonna bring on a special guest right here, right now. Right here, right now, we have Dominique O'Gorman. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Getting some stretches going.
That's what we got to do.
We all need to stretch, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For
That's
real.
that's what they tell us. That's what I should have listened to 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Ain't that the truth? When I was in my 20s, if I would have listened then, I'd be a lot better off right now, for sure.
Me too. And I was like, okay, well now I'm a little older than 20, and yeah, I wish I would have thought about stretching earlier, but I was always too cool to stretch. So
right, I was too cool to stretch or exercise or run or do any eat healthy. I was too cool for all that, and now I'm like, girl, get it together. Just get it together.
It makes everything, yes, good thing to know. Good thing to know and good thing to learn eventually at some point, I guess.
That's right. Never too late.
No. So I see in the background you have, there's two wolves howling at the moon.
Yeah, it's a tarot card tapestry. It's like the original, older school moon tarot card. So
Okay. I see a lot of those, not a lot. I used to pick them up. I used to sell shirts and a whole bunch of other stuff. But whenever I'd find those wolves howling at the moon shirts, I'd always grab them. They've had quite a resurgence actually lately, become quite popular, which who knew? I always thought they were pretty cool. I found some pretty awesome ones. But
it seems like everything that was cool in the 90s is coming back full swing. And I'm like, why didn't I just keep everything I owned? Why did I just keep everything?
Doc Martens is a wild one. Seeing people wearing those and okay, yeah, those were And
Those were
everybody in middle school had those for me. And
Yep.
okay. Yep, that's totally what I remember. But yeah, middle school and high school, and they're back. So
They are. It's very crazy to me. I have an adult daughter and I'll see the stuff she wears and I'm like, literally, it's like a flashback. I'm like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to me.
yeah, the stuff that that and it's weird, the stuff that we end up buying now. A lot of people, especially once the last few years, 3 years ago thing happened, a lot of people had a lot of extra money. There just seemed like kind of disposable money. If they weren't going out, they seemed to be spending money on reclaiming their childhood, I think would be
That
one
like
way.
whole nostalgic way to like feel calm and comfort. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there seemed to be a good deal of that. And so yeah, no, it's just weird, like all the stuff I ended up finding and reselling. It's like, well, yeah, I could have just held on to a lot of this stuff and sold it then and just
Right. I
yeah.
am excited that good music is starting to make a good comeback because like music is very near and dear to my heart and I love all types of music, but I'm very glad to see like really good music kind of making a comeback.
What do you see in coming making a comeback?
I've heard about the Struts. I've heard a few of them and it feels very 70s to me and I love them. I think they're really great. I really love them a lot. I think they're really awesome. There's a guy that's I'm into like really like indie artists and like nobodies. I think that's a beautiful thing about social media that we didn't have growing up, that people have a platform now. There's a guy called Corduroy Brown and he does like an alternative meets like I think he calls it Appalachian country or something, but it's a cool, I don't know. I love him too. So I'm a weirdo. I like all kinds of
Oh,
stuff.
it's good. It's different than tape trading or whatever may have been the medium, you know, mixtapes and such.
Have all those. Yep.
Yeah.
You're aging me now.
I still have some. I found one recently that I had. It was recorded back in, I want to say, on like 96, 97 off the radio. And I put it on YouTube probably 10 years ago. It was, the video is me taking a video of my stereo with and pushing play on the tape player. And
Yeah, we still have vinyls that like are near and dear to my heart that I would never sell. Like, oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
it's wild, this the vinyls too, with people throwing those around and just
Crazy.
yeah, when you go to any yard sale, I mean, those things are always snatched right up. And
Yeah.
yeah, I have a bunch that I need to list. I have like a good 4 boxes worth of stuff.
Right. See, like
But
I'm like obsessed with like Aerosmith and like older, like that's my heart and my soul. And so we have a whole room in our house that's nothing but like our vinyls like on the wall that we collect. And it's really special. I don't know. I love
you
that
keep
stuff.
the album, like you put the album, like the
Like in the
artwork,
sleeve and still,
yeah,
all of it. Yeah.
okay, up on the wall.
Hmm. Any collectibles we have, concerts are like, that's like our thing. We don't go out and like do clubs and bars and stuff, but we go to concerts. That's what we do. So we have tons of cool memorabilia that we keep. So.
What part of the country are you in? Or are you in the States, I guess?
I'm in Eastern North Carolina.
Okay, sorry.
North Carolina, it's a lot of good music.
So yeah, you got the Appalachian. You say, is it Appalachian or is it?
That's not too far from here, but like we have a mix. Like Dirty Heads are probably like one of my favorite bands right now. Like I said, Aerosmith is one of my favorite ones. I love the White Buffalo. Like all these really cool, powerful musicians that are coming back. Like Jack White, I adore him. Like incredible artist. So.
Absolutely.
Music's how we connect. Yeah, that's how I connect with a lot of my clients. This is through music a lot.
So, where are you with AI music?
Not a fan of anything AI at all.
Yeah,
Freaks
it's
me out. Freaks me
it's
out.
it's tough. It's tough with some of it. I have many different recording things in here for music, and just being able to type something in and 30 seconds have something that's better than what I'm doing.
Wild.
It's kind of frustrating, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting hearing what people are getting creative with. I don't know. Some of it's been pretty cool, like hearing.
I'm such a weirdo. I'm petrified of that stuff. Like AI scares me. I'm like, no, I don't want any part of it. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I
they're
got you.
bombarding like authors and stuff all over the place too, because like AI is like writing 10 and 12 books overnight and publishing them, or people are using AI to publish books, and then humans are sitting here like, but my book is right here. I don't understand. So
Right.
it's very weird to me.
Yeah, no, it's been. I don't know. 'Cause yeah, I'm half and half, and sort of. I guess that sort of ages me, because I'm kind of in that had analog and digital, and like as a kid, and
Right.
the start of digital. Yeah, I'm
Right.
40, so like
Yeah,
I'm
me too.
not,
Right.
yeah,
I feel that.
yeah, not Gen X, but not a millennial, and just
Somewhere in the
sort of
middle.
sort of in between there. And so like half of me is like, oh man, yeah, this AI, like.
Right.
But then, yeah, but then I'm seeing, stuff that people are coming out with, and it's, and then, yeah, with being able to do, like all the hologram stuff, and, it's,
It's wild.
yeah, I mean, you can have concerts that are, new. I think the Beatles just ended up doing some AI something or other. I think it was Paul that
Mhm.
did something, and they're going to do one last release, but then make it basically like an AI Beatles thing. And
That's wild.
it's weird. It's really, really wild. And I don't, yeah, like I'm so back and forth with everything on it. And
I mean, I see the pros. It just makes me anxious. I'm like, that's a lot of technology out of our hands. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've seen too many sci-fi movies. I'm like,
yep.
this is how they take over. Like, this is
Well,
not it for me.
sci-fi movies are usually the truth in about, a certain number of years. Usually it seems to be less and less time now of
Right.
what they are. And yeah, it's odd. And then, with the writing, yeah, like the writing the books is just, it's so fast to just write a book. I mean, I've never written a book, but I mean, I
You can't.
theoretically could, yeah, write,
Mhm.
like you're saying, a few overnight. And have you gone down the writing a book path? Have you done that?
We're actually about to publish our first workbook. I'm just waiting for the final little edits to come in, and we're about to publish our first workbook. But besides that, I haven't had one released yet. And I think part of my nerves is the technology is wild in general. And so it's just a wild path to take, but we're working on it. We're almost to the release date. We were supposed to release it the last week in June, but that's how books are. They always take a little
Yep.
bit longer than what it's supposed to. So
Yeah, if whatever you're supposed to add a year, and you're
yeah.
probably about right.
Right.
Just, yeah, all the little revisions, and the publisher wants this, and
Right.
um but then, yeah, so like a workbook, and I mean, that's another thing that could be done
Right.
fairly soon, or quickly, with AI to just.
Right. AI could have it done by the end of the day and published on Amazon, and it's done. And I'm like, oh my God, my brain
Right.
I cannot keep up with technology.
So are you doing the Amazon route, or are you going the through a publisher route?
We are going Amazon route right now, but I am working. One of my clients owns a publishing house, and so she's working very closely with me because she's a really great client, and she's pretty much hand in handing like with me, walking through it right now. And she's like, "Look, this is all you need to do. Just do it." So we've been putting it off, not really putting it off. I've been working out the last few details because it's one of those things like as soon as I think it's done, I'm like, but we need to add one more thing. We just need to add one more thing. And I'm like, no, we really don't. But, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's never going to be perfect.
No, absolutely not.
And that's the hard part is just saying, okay, this is it. This is it.
This is it.
Yeah. This is where I turn in my work. And then there's, book number 2. It can be.
That's halfway done already too, because my brain doesn't work like in a singular thing. It just doesn't. So that's exactly what it is. We've been working on the other one for a long time, but that's like more of a personal story and like my experience with my work. So It's a little bit deeper. This isn't the one that's about to come out as a grief workbook, because with my job, we deal with people going through grief every single day. And I kept trying to find a book to give them to take home to work on. And it just wasn't it. They were all very cookie cutter. And I was like, no, this is not it. So we decided to do one ourselves. And that's just what we did. So this is a little bit different. So I'm hoping it helps. I'm hoping.
So then, okay. So I assume clients are coming to you, reaching out to you, finding you. This is an interesting take. So I went and interviewed and got a job as someone working at a cemetery, as like the person who is the person who meets whoever's coming in. But the part that I liked about it was being there to help. But the part that I didn't like was that I felt like I was trying to be because part of it's being a great salesman as well.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, are there, I don't know, because I mean, I could see there being like,
there are horrible people in this line of work that do nothing but feed off of people's grief and trauma, and it's disturbing, absolutely disturbing.
I mean, so are there like the equivalent of ambulance chasers?
Right.
Because I mean, I'm finding, like most every job, even always has that other side of it. But then with that other side of it, how bad it can be means that there's the duality, and that the other side must be as good as it is bad. And like with hypnosis, there's horrible shit that people do.
So I'm so scared of hypnosis in general, because there are people that do the idea of somebody getting in my mind that I don't trust and being able to manipulate things that I can't undo absolutely terrifies me. But I see the healing in it as well. So it's that balance. There's always going to be balance.
Yeah. And I mean, it's, and it's always, if there's someone, like if someone's not, I don't know, doesn't trust me or doesn't like me, I'll tell someone to go, like, don't work with me. There's a lot of other people who do what I do, and but then I'm the people who are like, no, you should work with me. Those are the people, the ones that I'm kind of like, okay, well, yeah, maybe I should be watching out. But like if because I mean, like you want to work with someone that you can.
I always tell people your greatest tool for intuition is yourself. Like our intuition has like lifetimes of experience. And even if I'm not the person for you, I am totally okay with that. And any ethical practitioner will be okay with that. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to try to convince you to stay with me. If our energy doesn't align, then that's okay. And I respect that. I always tell people, never trust anybody blindly. You have to trust your instinct above all else, period.
Yep.
End of story.
I totally agree with that. And yeah, I mean, I'd rather, like, I don't want someone to, and I assume you wouldn't either. You wouldn't want someone to work with you that's already kind of like, I don't know about this, and then kind of get turned off to what
Right.
you're doing in general. And where, I mean, that's not fair, because they're coming in with that, you know, that
Absolutely.
thing already, that preconceived notion of, I don't know about this person, but then it's
Right.
like this the whole thing. And so
Yeah, a lot of my clients are people that have been burned by people in my line of work. And I'm a huge skeptic. I think probably 80% of the people in this line of work are complete frauds. And I don't trust them. I think that they're just feeding off of people's grief and trauma. But I always try to hold space for people. And I'm like, this is what you get. I don't talk like anybody in my profession. And when I show up being authentic, then I can see people like take a breath and be like, oh, I don't have to come in acting a certain way, talking a certain way. And I can see them relax, and it makes me feel like, okay, I'm doing my job, because they know I'm not trying to use them for anything. Because if I'm not the one for you, that's cool. It's totally fine.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and I
there's,
will send you to somebody I suggest. Like, I got a list of people I do trust, and see if one of them work for you better.
that's what I do too. And I'm like, if you don't want to work with me, that's
No
totally
offense.
fine. And yeah, I don't take any offense to it. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, because, and yeah, I mean, the same thing. I mean, the people who are gonna connect with you are gonna connect with you, and they're gonna, since you're more zoom, like narrowed in, like zoomed in
Right.
on what you do, and you're gonna have those people that connect with you that much more. And then, like, those are the people that are they're not gonna get that anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, there could be 10 people that like do your work at a table, and every single person's going to bring something different. And you have to go to the person you feel aligned to and that you feel pulled to. There's room at the table for everybody, but just trust your instincts above everything. Just do
Yeah.
that.
And I don't know if that's something that, I don't know if that's getting stronger or weaker now, like with being able to trust your instinct. I don't know if it seems like it's being, I don't know if it's being taught more, but it seems like it's happening less.
Yeah. Yeah. People are, the conversation isn't as taboo as it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's not as a taboo topic. So people feel like they can talk about it more openly. And at the same time, I call it toxic positivity, where everybody's all like love and light and bubbly. And I'm like, I'll be damned, that's not how life works. Like, there's not how that works. So
Right.
I don't trust anybody that's an extreme either way. Like, no, but it's
Pos-
definitely, yeah, it's definitely opening the door to have these conversations. And that's one reason, like, I even got on social media, because I hate social media. I'm not like a social media person, but I feel like if I have the opportunity to talk about it, we have to get comfortable having these really uncomfortable conversations. And death is something everybody's freaked out to talk about. And I'm like, you guys, we all going to die. We are all going to experience death. So let's get comfortable talking about it, and it'll make everything so much easier. So hopefully, it's starting to spread a little. But yeah, I'm not for that whole everything's all love, light, and bubbles and rainbows, because that's just not reality. It's just not.
Positive vibes only.
Just
I'm
sure,
like, oh,
but I mean,
yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, there's where's the rest?
right? Like,
Where's
you have to have that shadow side. You have to have that dark and light to balance it. Balance is going to be achieved. Like, it's going to happen. So you have to find a way to work in both. You have to be able to find that comfortable space in the middle.
right? And then, but then another thing, like you were saying with death, with people not wanting to talk about it. It's one of those things too, I guess you would call it triggering for someone to talk about it. And But then anything that does that is giving power over you, and it's always gonna have whoever it is and you know, in a stranglehold. And you know, you can't be afraid of
Right.
death, or you at least have to be open to the fact that we're all gonna die, or you know, maybe our
There's
physical
lessons.
bodies are going to be dead and will be uploaded into the cloud in
Right.
2030.
Yeah,
When,
absolutely. Absolutely.
and
Um,
yeah,
I'm actually dealing with somebody literally this weekend as their service because they were so afraid to talk about death that now they passed away rather unexpectedly. Well, they passed away sooner than they expected, but they were so petrified to talk about death. When they did pass away, they refused to make a plan prior. They refused to tell their children what they wanted done. And now we have these three very young women who are trying to figure out what mom wanted because mom was so afraid of death to talk about it. They don't know what to do. No will, no direction, nothing, because they were too afraid to talk about it. And I think that's just a transference of fear. And like, we can't do that. Like, we can't do that. I absolutely understand the triggering aspect, whether it's somebody who deals and struggles with mental health themselves or a traumatic experience with death, because we all have traumatic experiences with death. I mean,
right.
nobody enjoys when we lose somebody, but there's so many different faces to death. You can have the death of your plan that you have for life. You can have the end of a relationship or a friendship, or, you know, this great big image of what you thought was going to, that's all death and grief in its own way. It doesn't have to just be somebody transitioning into actual death, but it's just one of those things that people have to get comfortable talking about it. So I always try to meet people like where they are, where their comfort zone is, and then we step a little outside of it because we can't grow in our comfort zone. We have to kind of get out a little. But I never just shove them out and be like, oh no, death is great. Like, no, that's bullshit. That's not real. But we can like just push a little bit outside your comfort zone a little at a time. And that's how we grow.
Which is all we should always be doing, is always trying to be at least a little bit outside of our comfort zone and pushing those self
Yeah.
put boundaries.
Yes,
I
because
mean,
they are self-imposed. Absolutely.
yeah, that's self-imposed, yeah. And so, I mean, how are you getting people to want to talk about it? I mean, are you getting people that are finding out that they're dying and then they want to talk to somebody? Is that kind of what's going on? Or
We have all sorts of people. I have so as a medium, I have my clients that come to connect to those that have crossed over. And then I have, as a certified death doula, I have people that just want to figure out what their options are. For years we thought we could either get put in a box in the ground or we could get cremated and they give you your ashes in a bag inside of a box. Like, there are so many other options. And I've had people come to me in their 20s that are completely healthy and they just want a plan because, you know, maybe somebody they love died or a friend passed away and they're like, oh shit, I don't have a plan. Let me have a plan, or let me just talk about it. And I don't make money off of those conversations. That's not what I do. The only time like I charge for a death doula process is when we're actually going through the transitioning process and we are there with that family, because we are there for sometimes hours or sometimes days with this family. So we help before, during, and after transition. But some people can be terminally ill. Some people can be completely healthy. Some people may be already in this in-between space where they're unconscious, but their family's like, what do I do? So we're there to kind of help advocate for individuals and in that space. That's my goal, is to advocate for someone's decisions and where they want to be with death and what their plans are, what their plans aren't, and they don't even know what to do. So that's what we do.
because I mean, it's pretty difficult when you get left when you have someone that you're like my dad didn't have shit for when he died, like,
Yep.
and yeah, then it became, and he was a lot of up and down and a lot of what do we do with the doctors, and like none of that stuff was laid out at all.
No.
And so then, yeah, the family gets the burden of that. And so just being able to lessen that for anyone, I mean, it's a selfish
Yeah,
thing not
I
to
think
have
so.
a plan of what's going to happen if I'm on the way to dying or if I do die. And so I got like right after that, I mean, I made a will and I got my stuff with what I want, um, and what
And
it's not, it doesn't have
yeah.
to be that detailed. You can do
No,
it
it's just a
pretty
basic.
easily.
This is what, and you can literally go online, print out a template for free, and go to your bank or post office where they have a notary and have them sign it, and you're done. Like, it's done. Um,
Yeah.
so my mother had nothing planned. She unfortunately died from her addictions, and it was very sudden. I mean, like within a 4-day window, she was fine and she was gone. No will, no life insurance, nothing. And I was like, well, damn, what do we do now? And on the flip side, my adopted dad, that he adopted me when I was really small, he's where I'm convinced I got my dark sense of humor from. He had what he calls a death book, and now I advocate everybody having a death book. It was a little binder, and literally like page 1, he's like, okay, I'm dead, I'm fine. You need to call the coroner. You need to call the funeral home. They're going to pick up my body. Turn the page. Here's a draft of my email. Push send. It's already CC'd to everybody. Like, very polar opposites. But, and I love to tell the story all the time, but on the side of his black binder, I should just go get it, but it has the dead sea scrolls with the letter C, and his name was Charles. So like the dead sea scrolls. And I was like, that's where my sick sense of humor comes from. So we've had both, and I can promise you, having that laid out, this is what I need, is so much more of a help. Doesn't have to be that detailed, but the relief it gives your family and your friends is, it's absolutely priceless. Absolutely priceless.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're already going through so much shit, and I mean, you got I don't know. I mean, I assume the people who are the family, they don't know for sure. They're guessing, and
And
then
it gets nasty when people die. Like, it gets
right,
nasty. Family that, and people, oh, it gets so nasty. It can get so bad so fast. So if you just have it there, it's done. Like, it's just
yeah,
done.
it's so unnecessary too. Like you're saying, I mean,
Very.
just to have something laid out, tell someone. I mean, like that, those Dead Sea Scroll. I like that.
Cracks me up. And like, my partner's name is David, and he has one, it's like the Book of David. I'm like, shut up with your, go on. I ain't got time for you either. But like my 20-year-old has one, and it helps. It helps so much. It really does.
Yeah, and let someone know that the book exists. But
Yes, that's so fun. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We've literally been like, look, I know you're not going to care about what's in my like safe. So here's a book, and it's literally next to our television. Like, it just sits, our like little tiny 3-ring binder, because I know you're going to see that shit every day. Like, you're looking
right.
at it. You're not going to lose it. So yeah, we have a very weird sense of humor in my house though. So
I
it's
think
okay.
it's a big help. I mean, I think having the sense of humor probably does help with anything, death
Mhm.
related or um, it's so when you're working with clients, are you ever, I mean, because do you have to sometimes gauge where they are with that? I mean, can you maybe some people can handle a joke, then maybe some people might break down
Some
right
people
then, or
can't. Right. You have to learn how to read the room very quickly, like very quickly. I always tell people, like, if you're in a serious situation, don't sit next to me. Don't make eye contact with me, because I'm going to be that one. Just don't. But you have to be able to go into a room and like read the energy that you're dealing with. And it really does. This is something I don't have to worry about AI taking this job, because it's not copy and pasted. It's very, each individual client I have, regardless what services they're seeking out, they're going to be completely just for that person. What works for this person will not work for this person, and that's okay. And
yeah.
that's why I am so grateful, and I honor my clients so much, because I don't know, it's such a sacred space, and I don't know, I really enjoy it. They're absolutely incredible.
So then with your workbook, so is that sort of, does that have
For
to do with,
anybody.
what does
For
that have to
any
do with the 3-ring binder, or is that more?
No, there is a free template that you can download when you purchase the book itself. There's a little template in the back. There's a QR code for a template in the back that you can download completely for free for a death book. But inside the workbook, it's literally like we talk about grief, and there's pages in there about well, here's a soundtrack, that songs that make you think of the person that you have lost. And then there's a page where you can go and write like your own soundtrack about your life, and songs that when you pass away, when your friends and family hear them, you want them to think of you. And there's a little place for you to like print out like your Spotify or whatever and pop it in there so they can just scan it and go. There's spaces in there for you to get mad, because people think you can't be mad at the dead, which is absolutely absurd. Like I get mad all the time with my family that have died, and you can yell it out and scream it out and whatever. And there's a place in there for you to write it out and then tear it up and stomp on it and burn it for all I care. It's an actual, like, think of like like those wreck your journal books. It's kind of like that, but it's for grief. And I really enjoyed working on it a lot, like a whole lot. I really did. But in the back, there is a free downloadable template, just like the basics for your death binder. Pretty much like you need to have a power of attorney. You need to have a medical power of attorney, because they're two totally different things. Here is like a very basic outline for your will, and very simple things, but that's all we really need.
Have you thought about making that into like a book to have? I mean, it seems like something that I could see it. I don't know if there's a few bookstores here and there, but I mean, I could see that being on like a end of an aisle kind of a deal.
I would love to do that. To me, it's just like such a simple thing to walk through. That's why we added it for free in the back of the workbook. So I'm like, it's very simple. And again, I don't do this work to make money. Like I do this work because I feel like it's my soul's job. And you know what I mean? And yes, my workbook costs money, but the template doesn't cost much. It's literally like, hey, here's your checklist of shit you need. And while you're at it, make sure you write letters to your friends and write letters to whatever. And hey, make sure you have a place to put your passwords for your emails, like simple little things. I'm sure if I printed it all out, I could make money off of it. But to me, it's so simple. It's still,
I think just more for visibility, like a way to get more people's eyes on it.
Right. That's smart. Maybe I'll do a little small one and pop it together.
Yeah. Even if, so I think more people, if they, I don't know if it's something a lot of people go to.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Right. Out of sight, out of mind. But then if you see it, or you're, even if it's an Amazon free download,
Right.
one of those, like, oh yeah, that is something that I should be looking at.
Yeah, for sure. Like we've done like seminars and expos and stuff. But yeah, it would be really something cool and it's already together. All I'd have to do is just publish it, put it out. So it wouldn't be bad. I might have to look into that.
Yeah, it could be, your own twist on it. But then I don't know, it could be interesting too to have it be give someone comes with a box of crayons or colored pencils or something.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
can draw the cover of it.
That is so funny. I have a private VIP group for like clients that is like a yearly thing. And when we did this, that's what they did. I was like, okay, here's the supplies you need for the next 6-week course. We're going to create our death books. And everybody had to create the cover to slide inside their 3-ring binder. And it was like, I was like, y'all are so smart. Like I would have never thought about that cover for that person. But I also think it helps in like the process of accepting and like showing what they look like. We had one girl that just took a bunch of flowers that were in her garden and she dried them and like Mod Podged them all on there. And another girl printed out like that book, All My Friends Are Dead or whatever. And she printed that out and slid it right in. And I'm like, that is so funny. And I love you so much. That's so great. And like the book of the recently deceased or whatever, I was like, y'all are great. I love my clients. They're the best. Like they're so funny. But yeah.
It's important to because everyone's going to have their own way of doing it. And I think that's Yeah, I mean, I think it
Yeah, I
makes
like it.
it less scary for anyone else picking it up, because maybe someone, I mean, because that is that a thing too? Like whoever their loved one is or whatever is like, I don't want to see it, 'cause if I see this, they're gonna
It's
die.
real. Right. I have literally had people, even after their family is transitioned, they will not acknowledge it. And so I'm like, I will sit here with you while we go through it, but pretending it doesn't exist doesn't make it go away. And that's when it comes, and again, that's when you kind of like read your client and see who you're sitting with, because it's going to be different for everybody. And when you lose anybody, it's hard. Like it just sucks. It just sucks. Literally everybody in my biological family has crossed over except for my children. I'm the only one left. And so like we've gone through all this stuff, and I think I look at death differently, because in my opinion, like death is an illusion. Our body dies, but our soul doesn't. But that's hard for people to like grasp that concept when they're in the middle of losing someone. It's very difficult. But yeah, we always have to kind of play it by ear and work on their timeline. But yeah, it does. It makes it so much easier when they can look at something and it's not all dark and grim and scary, but there's like cute pictures on there and like fun memories and stuff. It makes a difference. It really does.
I think just opening the book is half the battle right there, at least half the battle. Just like, and I think with an inviting cover, just as any book for the most of us, judging the book by its cover, and this is just something that they did. I can see this in them. Then much easier to open the book rather than unless
Absolutely.
yeah. Or if it's something funny, like you said, like with the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Book of David, and it's like, oh, that's good. Okay, let's see
That's
what
good.
fits in this.
Sneaky people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's part of it. It's just part of it. But it's always, I've had people who are like, I won't talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't talk about it, but it's still gonna happen. But that's okay. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And that's just it's part of the whole process.
So what happens with, and by again, I assume it's person to person, case by case with someone who absolutely doesn't want to accept it, and then it happens. And so, I mean, is it?
Normally, if people have made any plan at all, they have like a person that is responsible, like their executor is what it's called legally. And normally I always encourage them, like, listen, I know your daughter is your whole world, but is she going to be able to handle this when the time comes? If not, you need to find somebody else who will. That's why a lot of people use lawyers, because they know their family they can't process, they can't deal. And if somebody that can come in that's not really emotionally connected can come in and be like, oh, here you go, this is what it is. And it forces that push. But yeah, I always try to encourage people. Like my daughter doesn't have me down as any of that stuff. It's her dad, because she knows I'll freak out if something happens to her. She's like, Mom's gonna check out. She can't do it. So Dad's got to do it, because Mom can't. She'll freak out. That's
fine. Nothing.
part of being real. It's part of being real. It's just, we're gonna be real honest with ourselves. Like, this is how it works, and that's okay. You have to be able to be honest with yourself.
Because I feel like in a time of, it's sort of shock, or at least somewhat, and so I assume with that, then people are going to be acting on adrenaline too, and so there's adrenaline with that, and I assume it's the same thing as with anything like that. When you're acting on adrenaline, you make dumb decisions. You don't have you don't have that that clear state of mind to be able to process anything. It's just our primitive brain just
right. It's just that reaction. We don't make logical choices when we react. Absolutely not.
And so, I mean, I think that's another reason to get at it and
because all it takes is that one aunt or one uncle to step in that tries to step in and control stuff, or there's always that one in any situation when this happens. And so you will react and do stupid shit that you wouldn't normally do, and it's going to bite you in the ass later. So it's very good to like have that pause. Like, and that's one thing I tell my clients all the time, whether I'm there or not. is when somebody passes over, you don't have to immediately jump and run. Like, just sit there for a minute. You just sit there. They're not going to change. So just allow yourself that like 15, 20 minutes of being like, okay, you don't have to immediately jump into action. And our human nature is to jump and to start doing all the things to keep, our brains busy and are distracted and deflect and stuff. But yeah, it's one of those things. Just sit still for just a minute. It's okay. You ain't got to rush it. It's going to take a while. Let's just sit with it for a minute.
And then how does that work when you got someone that's deflecting it for trying to, case by case again, or,
Yeah,
is it
we just roll with it. As long as they're not hurting themselves or anybody else around them, we just roll with it. We're just like, okay, cool. You want to start calling corners right now? Then okay, I'll do it. We got you. We've got you. We'll handle it. It's no problem. I recommend you just sit for just a second. But people don't think logically when they're in that situation. It's just like any emergency situation. Our brains automatically think, oh God, somebody's dead in front of me. It's an emergency thing. Like it's not. And,
Right.
but we can't help it. It just happens. And so we tend to, again, just react super quickly and think that we have to do all the things at once. And it leads us to make mistakes very quickly. Like, when you just react to things.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. And
No, they're not going anywhere. Exactly. They're not. Be good. Don't worry about it.
They have all the time in the world.
Yeah, we really do. Like, we got time. And it's really interesting to me that this, I was just on an interview with New Jersey Paranormal, and I forgot what the woman called it, but it's like a positive death movement pretty much. And she was like, people are starting to understand, if you don't want to die in hospice, you don't have to. And I'm like, you can be at home or in the mountains or on a boat or wherever the hell you want to be. And when people realize that, they can like out a little. And especially a lot of people that want to pass in their home and like have really sat with it. It's so much easier for the family because they can we're not in this weird sterile environment where we feel like we don't want to be anyways. For instance, when my dad passed, he was 82, 83, and we were in the hospital for like 20 something days. And he's like, I want to go home. I'm like, bro, same, but we can't. He's like, no, I want to go home. And I'm like, noted, got it. And immediately we went home. We got all his flowers on his porch. I literally ran to Lowe's, bought tons of flowers for his porch. My husband moved his like hospital bed that was in his bedroom into the living room so he could look outside, handled it. And it was so much easier for everybody when he came home and he could pass where he wanted to. And it was just so much nicer than being in like a funky hospital where nobody wants to be. Like, you don't want to be there. I mean, some people do, but I don't.
Yeah.
No.
And even kind of now with with Zoom and this like when I first started, I had an office, and but then so I was living in Portland, Oregon, and then I moved to Minnesota and thought I'd be snowed in for 6 months out of the year, but found out that wasn't the case at all. But I didn't get an office, and I just started doing everything on Zoom. But then also that means that my clients can be sitting at home. They can be hanging out in bed. They can be in their nice chair. They can sit out on the porch, lay in the grass, be in the woods. I don't care.
And that's so powerful. That's so powerful because I used to have an office too, and I got rid of my office because that's why I go to my clients or we do it Zoom, because I noticed when I had an office space, they would walk in and like their shoulders would be like up. You deal with hypnotism, you understand, but like their shoulders would be like touching their ears and you could see them like holding a breath. And I'm like, chill, like it's all good. So now when I meet clients for sit downs, I'm like, where do you want to meet? And they're like, don't you have an, I'm like, no, what makes you comfortable? That's where we're going to go. Because I'm assuming it's the same with hypnotism. If they're comfortable, your session's going to go a lot smoother than if they're freaked out and like looking around.
100%. And they know where they're going to be most comfortable. And I've been to, a lot of doctor's office, therapists and stuff, and it's always, you're in this weird room with uncomfortable stuff, and doesn't have that same smell you're used to or whatever.
Right. And all you want to do is go in your car and be like, right?
Yeah,
You just want to
get
leave.
out and let the shoulders down. And yeah, it's just so nice to be able to be in your own terms. And I'm assuming that would be with death too. Just you don't want to, you don't want to be.
Right. You just don't. And I work with my mediumship clients more than I do strictly death duelist stuff. And it's the same rules. Like, where do you want to sit at? What space is going to make you feel safe and going to make you feel comfortable? And that's where we're going. Like, that's where we're going.
Yeah, and I mean, I assume, with them, with the medium work, I mean, that would be, that would same thing. They just, if they're in a space that, I mean, they don't just, I mean, how much better, and again, being in a new space is even going to give you adrenaline and make you not
Right.
think clearly. And
That wall's
this,
going to go up.
the walls are going to go up. Like, oh, do I really want to do this? And just being able to have them at home and like, okay, this is, you're in your spot. This is the best situation for you to experience this.
Absolutely.
Let's do this. Let's work on this. And
Yep.
and so if people want to get a hold of you, want to find your work, when they want to do this, how are they going to find you? How are they going to see your work? Where are they going to download that free workbook?
It's just dominiqueogorman.com. All my socials are on there: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, email. We're all the same.
Oh, okay. So you're over 40 or near 40.
Yes.
What do you do on TikTok?
Let me tell you, I hate TikTok personally for my own work. I like to doom scroll or whatever just scroll on, it's what I do. I have a really good client of mine that is actually works as a Disney PR, and she's like, girl, get on TikTok. And I'm like, girl, I am 40. No, I don't know. And she's like, I'm not playing with you. You have to get on. That's where everybody's at. And I'm like, don't care. That's not where I belong. And she was like, just do it for 30 days. And within 30 days, I had 200 new clients. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we literally just talk about what it's like to be a medium, all the weird shit that happens, because it's weird. It's weird. It's not a normal job.
Sure.
So we interview clients on there. We do lives on there. We do readings. It started off like, okay, got 30 days. So every day we're going to answer one of your weird questions, because people want to ask mediums and psychic questions, but they don't want to be weird and ask them. And I'm like, I'm pro at weird, fire away. And it turned into this whole thing. So that's pretty much what I do. People send me weird questions about, well, can you talk to pets? What if somebody doesn't speak English? Can you connect with them? Can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, so it's fun. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. It's fun.
So I've had two people that were pet mediums on here, and one of them had a statement that was interesting and stuck with me. So I think it was a dog. The dog had run away, and she said that the dog, like the work at that place with that owner was done, and the dog had the choice to leave. The dog wanted to leave, and they're just like, oh yeah, of course, dogs can think like that. They can be like, okay, well, I'm done here. Let's go somewhere new. Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's so funny you say that. I say this all the time: is we have to do our work. We have to do work here, and when we transition, we have more work to do. It doesn't just go away. It's part of our evolution, our soul's evolution. We have work to do. And it's on all the shirts that we sell. It's like, do your work, because you're going to have work to do. And I'm a firm believer that it doesn't matter if you're a dog, a bird, I don't care. We're all souls just cruising around whatever shell and car we got this time around, but we all have work to do. And that's just part of it. It's just part of it. It's just part of it. But yeah, animals, when they come through, it's very interesting. And I think they communicate so well because they didn't struggle to communicate, because I'm an animal person. My dog is literally right there, next to me. And they can communicate, but when we can interpret their words and what.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I hope I didn't lose her. But I can say words to sure to take the time. I don't know if it's, oh shoot. So you guys, I'll get this going for a minute now. Thank you for listening here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. Again, yeah, check out other shows on here, such as When the Gloves Come Off, Mickey Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is It with Lizzie and Saved by the Ben. And the show is brought to you by Fred Ben Savage as Fuck, Stoneries Productions, Hardcore and Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and Sock'emUp.org. And I guess she's gone. So Dominique, thank you so much. I'm happy we got to talk and happy we got to meet you and talk about something that is quote unquote taboo. And so you guys, thank you so much. And that is the show, man. Boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Ernest! Ernest! Ernest!
Yes, Pee-wee.
You brought the snacks, right?